Howdy team, we're going to come together and do chapter 1, project G. The final project looks like this. So let's get started. Regional sales 1.3. Step 1 was to download your Excel project. Your grader project should look like this and have Profit Marietta in cell 1A. It's asking us to change the theme of our Excel spreadsheet to the retrospect. So let's go ahead and do that. Retrospect, okay? Sorry. Page layout. On page layout in the themes panel, we'll go to themes. Now, depending on Office, this product was done in Windows 10, Office Pro 2016. Depending on your product and your update, you may not have the retrospect theme. It was also a download possibility when you downloaded your Excel file and your instructions. So you can look in that folder too. Mine happens to be on the second row, the third choice. It has kind of autumn fall colors. So we're going to double click that. And we won't really notice a change till we start working in the header. It then says widen column A to 80 pixels and column BH to 110 pixels. So we get between column A and B. We hold our mouse, and if you'll look right now, we're at a width of 8.63 and pixels is 175. So that pixels width can actually change depending on your font. We weren't asked to change our font, so we're just going to go on to 80 pixels and go to 110 pixels. With a mouse, it's not that easy. That was 111. Let's see how we do on the next one. I'm just kind of clicking in between the columns and dragging. And that one's 108. I'm sure you can do this better than me. Now, step 3. Merge and center the title across the range A1 to H1. Let's start with that. So I'm going to click on cell A1 and I'm going to hold my mouse and drag it all the way to H1. And then I'm going to go back to my Home tab. And on my Home tab in the Alignment panel, I'm going to click Merge and Center. If you don't have Merge and Center, you can go into your Alignment dialog box right here and find your Merge and Center under Alignment. Okay? So here's Merge Cells, and here's Center. We can center from the bottom, and we can center from the top, horizontally and vertically. Okay, I'm going to save after every step, and then apply the title cell style. So we're going to come over here, still in the Home tab. We're going to come over to Styles and click Cell Styles, and we're going to pick the title cell style. So right here's titles and headings. We're going to go over to the 5th choice, which happens to be title. Merge and center the subtitle. So we're going to click cell A2 all the way to cell H2. And then apply heading 1 cell style. We'll go back right into the same styles panel, into the Home tab. Over here on the styles panel, we click cell styles, and it's asking us to choose heading 1. That's the end of step 3. I'd save again. Step 4, select the 7 column titles. So now what we're working with is these titles right here. And I would call that cells A3 through cell H3, which would make that a little bit more clear than 7 column titles. But it's the column titles for our data. Apply center formatting, okay, and we have merge and center, but we can also, remember I talked about this earlier, go into the alignment box, and we can click center horizontally and center vertically in the cell. which will make it look just a little bit nicer. There we go. And you can see how quarter one jumped kind of to the center of the cell. And now apply heading 4 to all cell styles. Keeping all cells A3 through H3 highlighted, we're going to come over here to cell styles and pick heading 4, which is down here in our title and headings. And really normally headings 1, 2, and 3 are used in APA style, but it can make for a nice look. And you can see now in the background that we're starting to get a little bit of our color from that retrospect theme. That's the end of step 4. Step 5, by using the Quick Analyst tool, sum the quarter one sales and then copy the formula for the remaining quarters. So here is our quarter one sales, right? When we highlight cell B4 all the way down to cell B7, we're given the Quick Analyst tool, and it's this small little jump up that you can also get to auto sum here. And if you're on a Mac, you may find that a little bit easier to go to auto sum in the Sigma sum. But we're going to come on down here, and instead of picking formatting or charts, we're going to go to totals, and under totals we can pick sum. Oops, I went one cell too far on that, so I'm going to undo. I'm going to highlight again just cells B4 to B6, then go to my Quick Analyze tool and click totals and click sum. I do want to show you one more time that I could have done this. I could have also done this over here in auto sum. So you could go to home or the formulas tab and go to auto sum, pick sum, and you would get the Quick Analyst tool. Now, and it would give you the sum of the column of numbers. I'm going to undo. I'm going to go to my Quick Analyst tool because that's the request for this task. Make sure I went into totals, make sure I click sum. Okay, good job. Now, when we click on that sum total, this is kind of hard to see at a distance, but the right-hand corner has a little green box, and that little green box is called an autofill handle. Inside this handle is our formula. The sum equals the sum of cell B4 down through B6. What is our calculation? When we grab that autofill handle, we can pull it across our data and replicate the formula. It saves so much time. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to come down here into my green autofill handle and notice how my mouse changes. It goes from a white plus mouse to a black plus mouse, which is on its target. I want the black plus mouse. I'm going to drag it all the way across to quarter 4 or cell E7 and let go, and it will have moved that formula, sum of cell B4 to B7 all the way across. And down here in this last quarter, we should have the sum of cell E4 down to E7. Let's see if we do. We can click that cell. We can look up in here in our formula toolbar, our function bar, and sure enough, there is the correct formula for adding that column. Excel assumes you want to move and calculate columns across the data that you have. That's the end of step 5. I would save. Step 6, select the northeast. So here's our northeast data for the 4 quarters. So all 4 quarters, and then display the Quick Analyst totals gallery. Click the second sum option, the 6th in the gallery, which displays the column selection in yellow. Okay, so we're going to highlight cells B4, hold our mouse down to cell E4, and then we have the Quick Analyst tool. If you're on Mac, you want to come up into the home and use Sigma formula, or you want to go into formulas and you want to use the auto sum. Okay, but we're being asked, so we're going to, here on a PC, stay on cells B4 to E4, and we're going to click the Quick Analyst tool. And on totals, we're going to go to the second sum. So here's our first sum, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's our second sum. So we're Going to click that. And then it says, copy the formula down the cells through F7. So do notice what just happened. If we click in our total cell, we just summed up B4 to E4. And now we're going to copy the formula down, and it will calculate the Southwest total, cells C, B5 to E5. It will calculate the West total, cell E6 to E6, and give us totals all the way down. So we're going to grab our autofill handle. You notice how my mouse changed from a white plus to a black plus once I was over autofill. And I'm going to fill it all the way down, and it says through F7, so it does want the totals as well. I'm going to save, and that's the end of step 7. We just finished step 6. I apologize for saying step 7. We are now on step 7. Apply the accounting number format to the first row of sales figures. So, and the total row. So we're going to go here. Our first row of sales figures is B4, including the total is F4. And then we're going to come up to the home tab to our numbers panel, and we're going to come down here and we're going to click all the way to accounting number format. Now the difference between accounting and currency is that accounting will always place the dollar symbol on the far left of the cell. It will also always line up the decimals, which is significantly different than currency, which will move the dollar sign all over the place depending on your money amount. So I'm going to click accounting. I'm going to go ahead and save because you're making several changes in step 7 and you want to make sure that they're all applied and graded. And the column style to the remaining sales figures. So here's the remaining sales figures. I'm going to go ahead and highlight B5 all the way through F7. I'm going to come up into my home tab, into the numbers panel, and I'm going to apply comma style. Now you'll look here and you don't see it. There are more number formats down here. And the other thing is mine defaults and shows comma style right here. You see that big comma? So you may have to look for yours or look in your number panel. I'm going to click comma and you'll see we do have a decimal now, and for every 3 place values we have a comma. After that it says format the total rows in row 7. So here's our total row right down here. With the total cell style. So we're going to come back up to cell styles, which was in the home tab. Come down here, and in titles and headings, we're going to go all the way across till we have the total cell style. And that's the end of step 7. Step 8, insert a new row 6. Okay, here's row 6. And if we click on cell A6 and right click, we have the insert. It's asking us, do we want to insert an entire cell or an entire row? We want to insert an entire row. So we click OK. And it wants us to call it the Midwest and enter the following figures. I'm going to pause the video and type them in. Why don't you type them in too? And then we'll get to the rest of step 8. We're on step 8 and we were asked to enter data for cell B6, C6, D6, and E6, as well as the new title of Midwest. Now we're asked to copy the formula from F5 down to F6. Okay, so if you click on F5, you have your total of sum equals BE E5. Well, we want a sum of B6 E6. So we can just come and click on cell F5, get our autofill handle, pull down 1 and let go, and the formula is copied again to sum for us of B6 all the way through E6. And that's the end of step 8. You know me, I like to save. Step 9, using absolute cell reference as necessary so that you copy the formula in cell G4. So we're going to go up here to G4. I'm going to go ahead and re-highlight that for you so you know where we're kind of moving to. Construct a formula to calculate the percent total sales for the first region, and then copy the formula down for the remaining regions. Okay, I'm going to take our color off of our Midwest region because we are all done over there. And I'm going to go back up here and calculate total sales. If we think about what total sales is, Northwest sold $846,635.12 in their 4 quarters. However, we had a total sale, if you look down here, of $2,953,441.38. So what we need to do is actually divide 846,000 or cell F4 by cell F8, the total. When we write a formula in Excel, we always start with the equal sign. And then by being told that we need absolute cell references and cell references, Excel in this activity is asking us not to type this cell number. We need to work right now with cell F4. It wants us to click cell F4. All right? Don't type it, click it, more accurate. Then hit your division key, which is beneath your question mark on your keyboard, and come down and click cell F8. However, here is where absolute cell reference becomes important. We're going to make this formula go down. If we pull this formula down, the next cell will be F5, then F6, and F7. And you see, it would just progress. Excel would think you would want to progress and would want to take F8 and make F9, F10, and so forth. Well, we want to keep the total in our formula, which is F8, consistent, non-changing, and absolute. So I am going to highlight cell F8, and then I'm going to hit my F4 key. My F4 key is located above my numbers on my laptop keyboard. It should be above your numbers on a traditional PC or Mac as well. If you can't figure out how to do that, you can also just go for a PC. I'm going Shift and the number 4 before my column of F, and Shift and the number 4 before my column of A, and that gives me the dollar symbol. And that dollar symbol is saying, I absolutely want you to go to column F. Here's my column F right here. And I absolutely want you to go to cell 8 in column F. So only take your value from cell F8 all the way down the formula. I hope that explains absolute reference for you. I went ahead and saved, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that total all the way down. And we don't want to total at the total. And so now you can see about 28% of our sales came from the Northeast region. But look at this. Our biggest sale is the $1 million sales out at the West region. And we have a 37% sales out there. So it looks like we're on track with our formula. I'm going to go ahead and save for step 9. And we'll move on down. Step 10, to the computed percentages, and so that's our computed percentages right here. Apply percent style with 2 decimal places. So you highlight cell G4 to cell G7. Then you come up to your Home tab, over to the Numbers panel, and you click percent style right here. And it's saying with 2 decimal places. It actually defaulted and gave us decimal places, but if yours doesn't, you can increase your decimal places by pushing the arrow to the left. You can decrease your decimal places by pushing the arrow to your right. Make sure you center the percentages. So we're going to come back over here to alignment. I'm going to click center, and that's it for step 10. We're going to save and move on down. Step 11. Insert Sparklines in the range H4. So that's right here, cell H4 to H7, that compare the quarterly data. So I highlighted cell H4 to H7. And when we do Sparklines, we want to go to the Insert. And under Insert, we come all the way over here to Sparklines panel. And it's asked us to do a line, not a column. So we're going to go ahead and click Line. And then now Create Sparklines is asking you, choose the data that you want. And it's saying, in the range H4 to H7, compare the quarterly data. Do not include the totals. So it's asking us to compare cell B4 to cell E4. And we just click in our data range and highlight from B4 to F4. You could also type it. It's more accurate if you do it with your mouse. And look at our location range. Our absolute cell values are coming back again because Excel will not continue past H7. It will just put the Sparkline data in our trend area here. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. We start to see our Sparklines, and then it says show the Sparkline markers. So we're going to click marker, and it says color. So I'm going to just pick markers, and I'm going to go ahead and go to red because that seems like a good choice. And apply Sparkline style accent to darker 25%. So accent to darker 25%. Theoretically, you should be able to highlight over these Sparklines and see which one's darker 25%. And hopefully you're seeing that at home and you can choose the correct one. Sparkline style accent to darker 25%. I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to click that, and I'm going to save. End of step 11. Step 12. Select the range that represents the sales figures for the 4 quarters, including the quarter names and their regions. Do not include any totals in the range. So I understand that to be cell A3 all the way to cell E7. With this data selected, by using the recommended command, insert a cluster column chart with the region as the category axis and the quarters as the legend axis. So we're going to go into Insert, and we're going to go to recommended charts. There's all sorts of chart choices. You could get up here and pick the cluster chart, but it wants you to choose the defaulted cluster chart, which is recommended. So we're going to go Insert Recommended Charts, and sure enough, it is showing us right off the bat that we think you should use a cluster column chart to compare values for categories. And it asks us to have the regions as a category axis and the quarters as the legend axis. So I'm going to go ahead and take the default cluster chart and click OK. And you'll see that it immediately pops up in our window. Now, it specifically asks us to make the regions as the category axis and the quarters as the legend. I want to come over here and show you a little bit about chart elements. We can click right here. When we click anywhere on our chart, we have a plus up at the top, and we need to know how to do the axes. And there's an axis title. There's a data label. It didn't ask us for this. There's the axes. All right, let's just click that real quick. Primary horizontal, primary vertical. Again, axis titles is for us to label them. And data table, that was if we wanted to insert that again. But we don't want that much data. It makes our chart too busy. Error bars, so you can see exactly where it's labeled on the chart. Grid lines, if we wanted more detail, legend, and look right there. So we unclicked legend, and the bottom information about our Midwest, Northeast, and West went away. But when we click legend again, then we have our Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, and West. And it wants our legend to be the quarters. So we need to come over here, and we want to make our legend the quarters. I came over here. Once you click on your table, you get the Format Chart Area dialog box. And I came over here to the Size and Properties, and made sure that my horizontal category access was clicked and that it was text. So your axis option, horizontal category axis, and that put Northwest, Southeast, Midwest, and West in. And now it's asking us to make the quarters, so quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and 4 as our legend, and we're going to do that next. So again, we click on our chart. You can click anywhere in the chart, and then you get the chart elements as a plus at the top. We're going to click that and come on down here to legend. Click legend. And when we do that, it defaults and gives us those quarters. Quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see how that retrospect theme of quarter 1 is our orange bars, okay, highlighted there. You don't need to highlight that, but just so you understand. And that's the end of step 12. Step 13, apply chart style 8, color 3. So you click on your chart. Up here in chart tools, you have the formatting of the chart, or you have design. We want to click on design, and it's asking us to pick chart style 8. And you can literally count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And probably at home you would have a pop-up that would say this is chart style 8. And then it says color 3 under the colorful positions, and that's change colors. And you go down here to color bank 3. Still in the retrospect style of colors, but we've got that black dark background. Position the chart so the upper left hand corner is in cell B10. So we're shooting to be right here. That's our goal, B10 right there. So I'm going to click the top of my chart. I can literally hold my mouse down once I've clicked to move this chart anywhere. And I want to get it over that cell B10. All right. And that's the end of step 13. Change the chart title to 2019 Regional Sales. Everything in your chart is clickable and changeable. I'm going to double click in my chart title. I can just start typing, or I can highlight it and type 2019 Regional Sales to Fitness Clubs. And that's my new title. And I save, and that's the end of step 14. Step 15, deselect the chart. So I'm just going to click off the chart. So I've deselected it. And change the page orientation to landscape. I'm going to go to my page layout, and I'm going to go to orientation, which is in the page setup panel. And I'm going to pick landscape. And I click that. Center the worksheet horizontally on the page. I go into the file menu and into print. And down at the bottom, you'll see a page setup. I click page setup, and then I'll go in to margins, and in margins I'm going to click horizontal. Now see the template? This is kind of an outline of our chart right now. When I click horizontally, it will move and center itself left to right. Okay, so watch that. That's what my file print will look like, and I say okay. Now, it also wants me to add a custom footer, and I'm going to go into header and footer. I'm going to go into custom footer, and it says insert a footer with the file name in the left section. This is our left section. To get a left, center, right section, you do have to go into custom to get these three. You click here and kind of mouse over till you see file name. You would think it was this, but this is the path. It looks like a miniature Excel sheet icon. You click that, and it literally is putting in there what you named your file as, okay? And it doesn't ask us to fill in anything else. I'm going to go okay. I'm going to go okay. I'm going to go save again. And I can really quickly show you in our print preview that we have our file name down here in the left hand corner. Our chart and our data resemble what we had as our picture at the beginning, our goal. And now it says you need to save and close the document and upload for grading. Way to go, guys. Great job.